Marriage can be tough when you're stuck with weird in-laws. Christiana, the mother-in-law, looks worn out as she seeks sympathy from relatives. And she never gets better at cooking. Have you ever met an adult who can't learn? Layla, the sister-in-law, jumps in, adding fuel to the fire. Enough is enough. Armed with undeniable evidence, I step in front of the family. My name is Natasha, and I'm 29 years old. I got married 2 years ago and work part-time. My husband Justin has a full-time job. We met through friends and got married after dating for 2 years. We live in a house that was rebuilt on my in-laws' property. That was one of the conditions for our marriage. I initially opposed it because I wanted us to build our own home, but I've learned something since getting married. Justin never stands up to Christiana or Layla. He treats Christiana like she's a goddess, which was a shock to me. He tries to make sense of even her most nonsensical statements. Even when I suggested that living on the same property might be uncomfortable, Christiana shot it down. My opinions are secondary now, so we considered a two-family home. It would be cheaper to build and would save on utilities. But Christiana's selfishness exploded again. She insisted on living alone, complaining about hearing other people's noises, so we ended up building a small, separate house for her. I still don't understand why she was so against it. If anyone should be unhappy, it's me. She even refuses to install a shower in her place and comes over to ours every day. She insists on being the first to shower, claiming it affects her health otherwise. Every day, I come home to find Christiana has let herself in and is lounging around after her shower. She even goes through our fridge like it's her own. She complains. At least keep some beer chilled for me after my shower. You're so inconsiderate. So now, we end up having dinner together every day. It's like we're living together, except she has her own big room. But that's not the only issue. As mentioned before, Justin has a sister. She's quite a character, and very different. Layla is still unmarried, and with her personality, marriage seems unlikely. She doesn't even seem like she could get a boyfriend. Layla is incredibly wasteful. She lives in an apartment 5 minutes away, but only works part-time. She says, "I'll quit my job when I get married, so why work full-time?" But I think the real reason is her obsession with a minor, unsuccessful idol. If you don't work part-time, you won't be able to take free time off. Even though it's a service industry, it's impossible for a full-time employee to take a day off every weekend. For Layla, these events are her top priority. She brags about being recognized at every event. She buys multiple $10 photos, and her room is filled with them. And that's not all. To keep up with her idol events, Layla always shops for secondhand designer goods at consignment stores. So she's always decked out in worn-out, outdated brands. Yet her pride is sky high, and she constantly looks down on me. I'm not into flashy fashion, or secondhand items. Still, she snidely comments, "With your plain face, wearing those clothes, you'll just blend into the background." She's got a talent for backhanded compliments. Ever since I got married, Layla has been asking for stuff every time she sees me. Not just clothes and bags, she even takes photos against our home's walls to post on social media. She's a total show-off. She even asked to borrow my engagement ring for an idol event. I firmly refused. I can't risk losing it. What Layla and Christiana have in common is their high pride. Despite not having much income, they have expensive taste. They insist on organic vegetables and only eat meat from well-known brands. They even say we have to go to a poultry farm to buy eggs. Because these two eat dinner at our place almost every day, I've started to hate dinner time. They claim they're here to make sure Justin doesn't eat anything weird. Despite their health-conscious talk, both are surprisingly overweight. They must have a lot of snacks at home, and they take out their daily stress on me. Their demands make no sense. For example, they say, "Wash the curtains once a week! Dust and allergies will make us sick if you don't vacuum every day." I think twice a year is enough for the curtains. I've never seen anyone wash curtains weekly. We're two adults with dual income. Our house stays clean without daily vacuuming. They just want to complain about something. And yet their own homes are filled with clutter. There's no way someone with a dust allergy could live in such a place. You might wonder why I married into this family. Simply put, Justin deceived me. He told me grand lies. First, he said saving money was his hobby. We never splurged on dates, so I believed him. I'm not used to luxury, so his frugal lifestyle felt comfortable. I thought we'd save money to invest in our hobbies. When I shared this with Justin, he seemed very sympathetic. But after marriage, I found out his financial situation was entirely different. He's not the same person I dated. He also lied about enjoying his job. He tries to find excuses to skip work. His company probably knows. And his entire family just wants to work me to the bone. Here's the strange part. Justin told me to quit my full-time job when we got married. He said one condition of our marriage was for me to become a housewife. I was too excited at the time and lost my sense of judgment. I never liked my job, and I had always admired housewives. I saw posts from housewife friends who always kept their homes clean. I wanted to support my family in a sparkling clean home like hers. But once I started married life, everything was different from what I'd heard. First, when we were in the process of rebuilding the house, it turned out Justin had loans, so we couldn't get a mortgage. Even the home builder was surprised. We were told that if we had land, the loan would most likely be approved. About not having any other loans, Justin had lied. But we were already married, and I was determined to build the house, so I lent Justin the money. Before marriage, I never thought I'd be responsible for the debt Justin accumulated while he was single. The silver lining was that I liked to save money and had a decent amount saved up. That's how I could cover Justin's debt. Otherwise, I couldn't bear it. My savings were almost entirely depleted when we got married, and the day I could become a housewife never came. I had to look for part-time work right away. Fortunately, I found part-time work quickly, as long as I wasn't picky about the hours. Even with a day's income, it's tough to get by on Justin's salary alone. Plus, we want kids someday, and we need emergency funds. So I took all the part-time work I could get. But the people in our house are not cooperative at all. They treat me like a servant. They insist that housework is my sole responsibility. They don't even wash their own dishes. Christiana says part-time work doesn't count as a real job. It's insulting. I want to tell her to try working herself. But if I talk back, even a little, she says, if you can leave, then leave. There's a limit to what I can earn from part-time work. I regret quitting my job. Christiana tells me, you can't live without Justin's income. Women should be more submissive. I don't want to be told to be quiet by the world's most nagging woman, Christiana. I was troubled by the daily harassment from my in-laws. Then something unexpected happened. Layla had a mental breakdown. Apparently, she was deceived by someone she met on a dating app, spent all her money, and was ultimately abandoned. She said she bought him everything he wanted. She spent all her money, even her living expenses, and rent. At that moment, I inwardly laughed at Layla. Was it an illusion that she and Christiana looked down on me so arrogantly? But my laughter lasted only a short while. The impact somehow came back to me. Layla had always been living off part-time jobs. She earned enough for her living expenses, but she had zero savings. Well, she's working part-time, so what can you do? If she can't work because of her mental state, she can't pay rent. Not my problem. She should focus on reality instead of chasing handsome men. She's an adult, she needs to solve her own problems. Given this financial situation, a family meeting was held. Seeing Layla's grim face, I realized how scary illness can be. Christiana and Justin brought lots of Layla's favorite foods, trying to cheer her up. Layla is overweight, so she'd probably be fine without food for a few days. Then Christiana said something shocking to me. Healthy people should work. Natasha, you should send Layla 1.5K a month. I was speechless. Why should I send Layla, who brought this on herself, 1.5K every month? I couldn't wrap my head around Christiana's unexpected suggestion. 1.5K is too much, even for sending money to a college student. It's ridiculous. Then even Justin chimed in. Yeah, let's do that for now. If she doesn't have to worry about money, she'll get better quickly. Right now, let's just focus on her getting better. By the way, most of that 1.5K would go to pay off the debt she'd been accumulating on her credit card. Knowing that, I'm even less inclined to pay or lend her money. Whether she's genuinely sick or just acting, Layla is exuding an aura of unhappiness. If I send her 1.5K, it would eat up most of my part-time earnings. I refused, but the whole family blamed me. Even Justin said, if something happens to my sister, can you take responsibility? As if it's my fault she's unwell. Honestly, even if I refused, there's no more money coming from my in-laws. In the end, I had to send the money. Christiana and Layla still don't help with any housework. I wake up at 3 a.m. every day to finish all the housework before going to my part-time job. I send Layla $1K and even pay an additional $500 for her rent. Why should I pay her rent? Well, if she loses her place, she'll end up at our house, which is the last thing I want. Everyone in this house, including Justin, sees me as nothing more than a convenient source of money. 3 months later, Christiana announced that she's inviting all the relatives for a small home party. She said 40 people would be coming. There's no way our house can accommodate that many people. Christiana says, just connect the guest room and the living room. But I don't want to let 40 strangers into my house. In this day and age, social distancing is necessary. I managed to book a nearby restaurant, but I had to handle the reservation, the food, and the payment. Christiana, who's been nothing but trouble, didn't even say thank you. She told me, "You're finally becoming useful. You should thank me, your nurturing parent." At this point, I don't even feel like talking anymore. Relatives often say things like, "You've had a tough day, haven't you?" Or, "Thank you for everything." But Christiana and a now healthy Layla say things like, "Don't praise her too much. She's always such a useless wife. She'll get carried away." It really ticks me off. Then Layla looks at me and says, this is delicious. I'm so glad it's not Natasha's cooking. It's been a while since I've genuinely enjoyed a meal. She's always so careless." "Absolutely. She's always a mess," they say, laughing crudely between themselves. Then to the still single folks, they add, "You really suffer when you marry a weirdo. You should be more discerning." My mother-in-law tries to gain sympathy from the relatives with her tired expression. "She never improves her cooking. I've never seen an adult with such a lack of learning ability." Layla chimes in, saying whatever she pleases. I decided it was time to execute my plan. If you dislike me this much, it's becoming difficult to stay in this family. When I say that, all the relatives look shocked. They're surprised because I've never talked back before. Justin tries to hush me in a panic, but I won't be silenced anymore. I thought this was a good opportunity to expose Christiana and Layla's true nature. I say, "Christiana, Layla, I apologize for being an incompetent wife." They look satisfied. "Good, you understand. Now be quiet. Don't meddle in other people's affairs." Other people. At that moment, all my doubts disappeared. I've reached my limit. I can't send money to Layla or pay the rent anymore. The room buzzes with chatter from the relatives. Everyone is confused. I explained to everyone, "I'm glad Layla is feeling better. I was worried when she got scammed on that dating app." Christiana desperately tries to silence me, but it's too late. The relatives won't let it go. They all want to hear the details. I tell them how Layla got scammed and became depressed, how I was sending her money, and how I was the only one doing housework because my family wouldn't lift a finger. The relatives are all extremely angry. First off, it seems like no one even knew Layla had a part-time job. She had everyone believing she worked at a big corporation, so you can imagine the shock. Why aren't you working then? Why are you so broke? Questions started pouring in from all the relatives. Seems like she couldn't lie anymore, so she started to spill the beans. When she tried to say she wasn't working due to health reasons, I had to correct her. "Come on, stop lying. You're just living life around your failed idol career." Layla glares at me. Justin steps in. "Enough! She's finally getting her spirits up!" But I know she's been fine for a while. I know she's been attending idol events every day last month. It's infuriating to see her take photos with random guys for $10 each, all on my dime. I exposed everything, from her reckless spending to her debts and the mysterious money transfers. Then Layla starts fake crying, claims I've been bullying her and Christiana. I couldn't believe the audacity, but I had prepared for moments like this by gathering plenty of evidence. When I played the audio of Christiana and Layla bullying me, the whole family was in an uproar. I then announced my decision to divorce. I also told them that I had already packed my bags and was ready to leave the house. My husband was both shocked and angry. He probably didn't like being called out in front of everyone. The relatives were furious with my in-laws, saying, "This is totally different from what we've been told." Their support boosted my confidence. Although my husband was angry, the relatives backed my decision to divorce, and it was finalized without a hitch. We're not a wealthy family, so I couldn't expect any alimony or property division. However, with the help of my relatives, I was able to arrange for the money I had lent and sent over the years to be paid back in installments. I had thought that money was gone for good, though it felt like a win. I got him to sign the divorce papers in front of everyone and immediately filed them. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. My mood instantly brightened. No more mysterious money transfers or rent payments. I now have a lot more financial freedom. I'm happy that I can finally buy stylish clothes that I haven't been able to afford for a long time. Divorcing was definitely the right move. After that, my in-laws fell apart almost immediately. Well, of course, they couldn't possibly sustain their lifestyle without my income. My part-time earnings were much higher than my husband, so it was inevitable. He was often skipping work and had switched to being paid daily. He had been lying to me and spending his days gambling. There's no way a household of 3 spendthrifts could ever work out. 4 months after the divorce, I happened to pass by my old house and saw a for sale sign. I couldn't help but smile, thinking, serves them right. Since that family gathering, some relatives have been concerned about me and kept in touch. They often update me on what's happening with my former family. From what I've heard, they can't make ends meet and have moved into an old apartment. It's one of those rare places where the toilet and bath are shared. Proud as they are, Layla and Christiana seem humiliated and even more withdrawn. With no money for outings and 3 arrogant people crammed into a small space, it's no wonder they're at each other's throats. Being alone has made me feel free, and I've started to enjoy my work. People around me have noticed that I've become happier, and I think the divorce was a good decision. In fact, I was offered a full-time position from my part-time job, and now I'm financially stable. I'm amazed at how everything has been moving in a positive direction since the divorce. I now have some financial breathing room and am enjoying investing in myself. From now on, I plan to take better care of myself and grab hold of happiness.